Hey there everybody, it's been a while since I put out a new video. I had a question from somebody regarding my Niagara SubUV tutorial, and he was having an issue with version 4.23 of the Unreal Engine, so I thought I would go ahead and just create a really quick, super fast sub UV Niagara tutorial using that version, and let's get into it. So the first thing is I went out to the internet and I just downloaded a sprite sheet of smoke particles. This is an 8x8 sprite sheet, and I imported it into the Unreal Engine. So you can kind of barely see it, but I just needed a sprite sheet with something on there for our testing. So I imported that. The next thing I did was I recreated material that I used in my previous video. Go ahead and just recreate this. It's pretty simple. The only thing that I did is that you have to update the material to translucent right down here. Just put in all these nodes, connect them together the way I have it here, and then you have the particle sub UV. You set this texture here equal to the texture that we imported earlier. Okay, so recreate this. Now we have our texture, we have our material. So now I'm going to go ahead and create our emitter. So Niagara emitter. I'm going to create a fountain. Say OK. I'm just going to leave it named the defaults just to make this quick. So we pull this up and we see that our this is the default. I'm going to choose sprite renderer. The material that we're going to use here is our SubUV material. So I click this just to get it selected. Go back here and update our material. Right now you can't see much. You can kind of make it out here, but you'll see in just a second. Now, looking back at our material, or sorry, our sprite sheet, this is an 8x8 sprite sheet. If you look at it more closely, there's 8 across and there's 8 down, but they're not using, they only use 36 of these slots, so it ends right around here. So what we're going to do is, if we go back to our Niagara emitter, we have to tell it that we have the sub image size is going to be 8x8. So I choose 8 here and I choose 8 here. Okay. So now that tells us that this is a sub-UV with an 8x8 image. And now we have to set the sub-UV image index to display for each of our new particles. So what I do is on particle spawn, choose set specific parameters. And then we're going to scroll down and we are going to select the sub-UV image index. Select that. Now, because it's 8x8, so if we go back and look at this, maybe I can make this bigger. Right. So this is 8x8. So what we need to do is figure out how many slots are used. And so 8, 16, 24, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So 36 of the 64 slots are being used. So I come back here to our emitter, and we're going to set the sub-UV image index. Instead of to a static variable, we're going to randomly choose a range. So we choose uniform range float, and we're going to go from 0 to 35. Right? So because it is 36 zero-based index, 0 to 35. So now over here, we are selecting one of the 36 images to display for each particle that we generate. The next thing we're going to do is, if you remember back on our material, we can submit a dynamic parameter to increase the emissive color, sort of a power. And so what we're going to do is we're going to set a specific parameter, and we are going to choose particles dynamic parameter. Okay, so we select that, and if you remember back in our thing here, we're using the first parameter. So if I go back here and I increase this first parameter, this will start driving up the emissive color, multiplying that. So now it comes out a lot better. You can see it. If we drive it really high, it starts glowing, right? So that's what we're looking for. So the person that contacted me said they were having an issue specifically with. Okay, here is the error message that the person was receiving. So they were having an issue where they were saying they were getting these errors: implicit truncation of vector type. I'll be honest with you, bud, I don't know exactly where that error is coming from, but try and just recreate what I've done here. It does work in 4.23.3. So maybe just recreate it and try it again. Without seeing your code, I really don't know exactly what's going on. But I thought I would just recreate this quickly, and that way you can just see it from front to back, everything that I did. So anyway, guys, that is the quick tutorial of the day. It's just sort of a shortened version of my previous Niagara SubUV tutorial. But I hope you found this helpful. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe. And have a good day. Stay safe.